What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to do a card test for a high damage build. Now, I did record all of this in version 42, and I was kind of waiting to do this till version 43 came out, and actually doing these card tests the way that I have been doing them, especially with this one because I am testing a lot of different decks. It's so hard in version 43. It's hard to grind to level 20. It's very hard to grind and get enough card points to actually test everything out that I need to test out. And they've just made it where it's much more difficult to do these things while staying at the same level and everything like that. Within bot matches, of course. Now, so in all my future testing videos that I do this, I'm going to have to only test a couple of different decks just because how the bot matches are. They're so much faster. It's so much harder to get farm. If you play it on a little less difficulty where, you know, you can kill things faster, your team just slaughters the other team. If you play it on the hardest difficulty, it's very hard to get farm just because, you know, everything takes a lot more damage, and you're basically playing a real match. And, you know, if you're not playing very well, the bots actually can really do some damage to you. So if I'm trying to run around and just farm like I used to, the bots will actually come down my lane and just tear my towers up. So I'm finding it pretty difficult to be able to do these big tests like this. So I really hope y'all enjoyed this one. It is in version 42, and hey, I'm sorry about that, guys. I wish I wouldn't have waited so long to come out with this, but it is what it is. None of these cards have changed, to my knowledge, so hopefully everything will be stagnant in version 43 from 42, but if they have changed just a little bit, we will see the baselines of what's hitting harder. Now, I currently have 25 attributes in agility and 8 attributes in versatility, and this is going to be stagnant across all these tests. Now, the first test is Knights of Asher, Heavy Hitter, and Hellfire Engine. We're, again, at level 20, and I just want to see what we're doing on these minions. And it looks like we're hitting for 320 damage. And of course, after 10 hits, we're going to be doing 3,200 damage, which, you know, that's a substantial amount of damage, but let's go ahead and test and see what else we can hit for. Now, the next build I'm going to try out is Heavy Hitter, Unstoppable Cyborg with that Knights of Asher, which I know this is a little unusual for an ADC, and I can't really figure in the Unstoppable Cyborg's ability. But let's just check out baseline damage, and it looks like I'm hitting for 237 damage per hit. Which, of course, that's 2,370 damage after 10 hits, which is just substantially less than having that Hellfire instead of Unstoppable Cyborg. You know, you're talking about 830 damage less. That is pretty substantial. Now, the next cards I want to test out are Shatter Golem, Heavy Hitter with Unstoppable Cyborg. And this is, again, kind of an unusual build for an ADC. Unstoppable Cyborg really is not the best card, but, you know, some people are out there using it, so I kind of want to compare. Now, I'm hitting for 214 and proccing for 384, which, after 10 hits with 2 procs, you would get 2,480 damage, which is just slightly above having that Knights of Asher on. So, in all honesty, I would say it's probably not worth it because you are doing less base damage, but you're doing more with your proc. So it'd probably be better to have that more solid base damage. Now, the next build I'm trying is Sacred Alchemy, Heavy Hitter, and Pressure Hunter. And with this build, I'm just kind of wanting to see what the baseline damage is. We're not going to be able to test out what Pressure Hunter is going to do because, you know, minions don't have vitality, and I've got a ton of vitality on, so I couldn't even go hit, you know, the enemy heroes or the bots because I've got a ton of vitality on. Now, I'm hitting for exactly 200 damage, so of course, after 10 hits, I'm hitting for 2,000 damage, which this is the lowest damage build we have so far, but I am getting that, you know, a little bit of sustain. Of course, I think death might be a better option with that lifesteal, but I am getting a decent amount of sustain, so that's pretty good. Now, I'm going to try out Shatter Golem, Sacred Alchemy with that Hellfire engine and see what we get with this. Now, I think this might be a good sustain build with that Sacred Alchemy working off of your base damage, and Hellfire with Shatter Golem hitting so hard, it might be good. Now, I do hit for 260 and proc for 521, so that is a substantial amount of damage. It's still not the highest, but you do have to weigh, do you want that sustain or do you want solid damage? Either way, with Sacred Alchemy, this is the highest damage build you can have. Next, I test out Sacred Alchemy, Hellfire with Knights of Asher. Now, this, you're not going to get that proc, which hitting for 521 is pretty substantial, but you're not going to get that proc with this build, but hopefully we'll do a little more damage. Now, you can see here, I'm hitting for 280, which is a whole 20 damage more than Sacred Alchemy with, Hellfire and Shatter Golem. But you still are not hitting for just massive amounts of damage like you were with that pure damage build. But you do have that solid form of, sustain. So, yeah, again, you have to kind of judge. I would honestly say, if you're choosing between Knights of Asher and Hellfire, it's kind of a toss-up. But either way, if you want Sacred Alchemy, Hellfire will increase your damage substantially. Now, lastly, of course, we have to test out this high damage build with Shatter Golem, Hellfire, and Heavy Hitter. And out of all the builds, this is the one that I use. I really like doing this, glass cannon build. I don't go with any sustain. I don't even play with lifesteal. So, this is a very risk-reward kind of build, but once you actually get this build online, you hit like an absolute truck. And you can see here, I'm hitting these minions for 297, which, with that proc, I'm hitting for 595. Now, after 10 hits with 2 procs, you will hit for 3,566 damage. Now, at level 20, with 33,000 gold put into points, we're going to do a solid comparison. Hellfire, Heavy Hitter, and Shatter Golem take the win after 10 hits for damage. And they have 3,566 damage with 4 more attack speed than our level 2 or our second tier damage build. And of course, that level 2 build is Heavy Hitter, Hellfire with Knights of Asher. Now, this has the second most damage at 3,200 damage, but it does offer 24 basic armor, so that might be helpful if you're dealing with, a basic attack hero such as Chimera, or maybe a jungler, or even the ADC. It might give you the advantage, but you are doing a little less damage with 366 less damage. Now, the last viable option I can really say is Sacred Alchemy, Hellfire, and Shatter Golem. Now, this is a more expensive build. It cost 4,000 more gold to come up with this build. I did do that static test, so you didn't see that, but this does offer less damage, but gives you a pretty good amount of sustain. The fourth build we're looking at is Hellfire, Sacred Alchemy, and Knights of Asher. Now, this build is not worth it in my opinion. You basically trade 322 damage with Shatter Golem, you trade that for Knights of Asher, and you get 24 basic armor. And as we all know, with an ADC, basic armor is not always the best option. Next, we look at Unstoppable Cyborg, and the first one was Shatter Golem, offers 2,488 damage, and has that AoE, but in my opinion, this is really not worth it, especially since you're an ADC. You need to be out of the combat, so you're not going to receive damage, and when you do, that's really not going to save your life with that Unstoppable Cyborg. The sixth build we look at was Unstoppable Cyborg, Heavy Hitter, and Knights of Asher. You do significantly less damage than the Shatter Golem with 118 less damage, but you do receive 24 more basic armor, But with Unstoppable Cyborg, you're already getting a good amount of basic armor, and I gotta say, going Unstoppable Cyborg on an ADC is really not the best option. The last build I really looked at was Pressure Hunter, Sacred Alchemy, and Heavy Hitter, and this is the least damage build at 2000 damage, although it does offer 0.2 seconds more attack speed. You are doing a significant less amount of damage, and with Sacred Alchemy, you know, that card works off of how much basic damage you're doing, so with this significant less damage, you're getting significant less sustain, and this build just really is not worth. Well, that's gonna kind of wrap it up, guys. Like I said, this is in version 42, and I'm real sorry about that. You know, things have just got crazy, and, you know, with all the changes within Paragon, it's really hard to get these solid builds, and they take so much longer to edit and everything like that. So, I am going to make a guide build test over the Death and Chaos build so we can really see if Lifesteal is worth it, and, you know, just kind of show access to those other cards. So I'll definitely check that out and, you know, look forward to that in the future. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and if you did enjoy, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, join our Discord if you haven't done it already, and we will see y'all all in the next video.